Hello and welcome to the Reichswald forest. I'm standing here on the border between Germany and the Netherlands, and we're about to enter the Reichswald forest, which you can see starts here and goes on for 25-30 kilometers in that direction and 10-15 kilometers in that direction. So the thing to see here is a border post. These numbers haven't changed much, so this is border post number 588, and now I am entering German territory. The most interesting thing to see here is the fact that it rises up very steeply. The Dutch terrain behind me is mostly flat till we get to the river, and the river Maas, but here it goes up pretty steeply immediately into Germany. And this feature that we're going to climb now is called Pyramid Hill. And let's take a look when we are somewhat further up. So this is where we climb up. We're up halfway up Pyramid Hill now. And as you can see, the Dutch countryside below, it's flat as a pancake. And then there's the Meuse River down there. And we are now further up the hill. And there are so many cool things to see here. This was the northernmost expanse of the Siegfried line, and this was a big fortified area, trenches, bunkers, and today we're going to show you what's left of them. Difficult to see, but here is a foxhole. Just over there, that is a foxhole. These are the frontline bunkers of the West Wall, the Siegfried line that the Germans built in 1938-1939. These bunkers were taken on the 8th of February in the early morning on the 9th, and they were later blown up so that they could never again pose a threat. And trying not to break my neck here. Some pretty massive remains here. These bunkers were mostly used for personnel to hide in. They were not fighting positions. So a place for the soldiers to sleep and eat. And then here would be a fighting position. This bit here overlooks the border, which I will show you is down here. These bunkers being built in the late 1930s, they served to protect the border of Germany, and the border is very nearby. As you've seen, we just crossed the border post earlier, and the woods at the other end of this valley are the Netherlands. That's the St. Jansberg, and up to May 10th, 1940, this was the dividing line between Germany and the Netherlands. So these bunkers, they were now useless, and the German army decided to make use of what they have here and then transport it to the Atlantic Wall and help build the defenses there. These bunkers were then mostly abandoned, and not until September 1944 was there any interest in manning them again, because just behind the St. Jansberg is where a landing zone, drop zone T was for the 82nd Airborne Division, which landed there on the 17th of September 1944. After the Allies had landed their airborne division on the hills over there, this became the front line, and it was from this location that the Germans launched multiple counterattacks. They managed to take hold of the St. Jansberg, and that became German territory up until the eve of Operation Veritable, which was on February the 8th, 1945. And it is at that moment when the Black Watch Regiment of the 51st Highland Division was tasked to take this hill, to take Pyramid Hill and the St. Jansberg, and clear this bit of the Reichswald in order to secure the road below for use to move in supplies for the next phase of the battle, which was to clear the entire Reichswald behind me. We're going to take a look now, see what else remains of the fortifications that the Germans built. It's incredible to see the thickness of this bunker's roof. This was really made to last. Well, down here is a trench which is now overgrown with things that hurt, so I'm not going in there. But not too far from here is the next bunker in the line. And here too you can see the remains of a destroyed bunker. This one gives a nice view down. Ooh, there's even more here. And an entrance. Let's see what we can find when we go down there. So this is looking down towards the St. Jansberg. I'm not going to fit in there because basically there's no space beneath this bunker entrance that it once was. They did a good job demolishing it, that's for sure. And over there you can see the road. That's on Dutch soil. This is the third bunker in line. And this is where the trench leads up to it, overgrown by brambles now, so I'm not going in there. And you can see also that the road has climbed up to meet this. Massive chunks of concrete. They used a lot of explosives to clear this up. The Reichswald, on the border of which we are now, is also the place where the Germans allegedly had 1,000 tanks hidden, and these were such a threat to Market Garden that the 82nd Airborne were told to take the Reichswald first, or secure this flank with the Reichswald before they could go after a bridge at Nijmegen. And this terrain is not really suited for tanks. We'll find out that later. We're now a little bit further up the hill again, and it is here that the Germans dug their second trench line. And it's almost as if they've just left. It's still so incredibly well spotted. And here is another bunker. Let's just climb up here. I've been here a lot of times, but this is the first time that I saw this bunker here. Let's try not get stuck here, not too many people visit this area. Completely destroyed. No way to get in, and if you get in, there's nothing left. So over there, the entrance to the trench line. And right behind it here is another pit, which opens up again with a small trench back towards the path. So crossing the path, this suddenly gives way to a proper trench. And I mean proper. Look at that. It's like it's been dug 4 years ago maybe. It's so deep. Steep. And it just goes on. I think we should get in. So going into the trench, which is deep enough to hide even me. No, I am not a small boy. Look at how it was thrown up here, big and duck. This is seriously deep. And then over here, a small side trench leading up to probably gun position. This is a proper trench. Here it forks again. Left or right, doesn't really matter. We go left here. Road blocked. It is really incredible how well preserved these trenches are, how deep they still are, that the sides haven't caved in yet. It's really amazing. You can almost see where the shovels went in. And they used log to strengthen the walls. It's amazing. Here you can clearly see the zigzag movement of the trench, and here a big bomb took out a part of the bit between two trenches, so it would zigzag up and down there, and then a direct hit here. I didn't want to be here at that time, and then it just continues, leaving the trench line behind me for a bit because I hadn't spotted something else. And these are massive pits, being so deep I would assume they'd be mortar pits. Look at the scale of that. And then there's a trench line leaving it that zigzags through the wood, and then comes over here. Another of those pits, not as deep as that one, not as circular as that one either. This one's more a square. Maybe this was a log bunker once to house the crews of these two mortars. Artillery would not make much sense, but look at this. This is properly deep. Put a thick mortar in here and you can hit 15 kilometers away. Really is extraordinary. Connecting trench. Incredible. It's still here. And it looks as if it's been dug a couple of days ago. Well, a couple of years ago, but not 70 years. Usually these things cave in and they fill up with mud and rain and leaves, but still here. We're back at the trench and it just continues. Just crossed the path that we were walked on earlier, the mortar pits in that direction, and then it continues. Zigzagging away. followed another bit of trench, which leaves the main trench and goes further into the area over there. But then I saw here are some fighting positions. Foxhole here, with a bigger one here, and there as well. And then here's another one which has a almost like a breastwork thrown up. And here's another one. Never knew there would be so much here to see. So I'm going to follow the trench. Will be interesting because it's rather overgrown. So where it leads me. We're back at the communications trench, and I followed it for quite a bit again. And then here is a crossroads almost. Seems like an entrance that's now been eroded away. Trench goes back to where we were earlier. And here is a big pit, fighting position probably. Be a good location for a machine gun. And then continues into the woods. It took a long time for this trench to reach the end, but this seems to be the final bit, which stops here. And there are some blocks here, concrete blocks, so there could have been a bunker type structure here. And from here it stops. There's one more pit behind me. And that's it. It ends. So let's find out some more trenches nearby. This has been a incredible trench system so far, and there's plenty more to see here. So having left the communication trench, which is over there guarding the Dutch border, behind it of course are some more fighting positions. A massive square hole here. And there it is. Once you know what to look for, pretty obvious that that rise over there is not natural. And it turns out to be another big pit, so maybe a command center. Oops, just stepped into a foxhole. Because there are foxholes all around. But this is a big pit. Maybe 100 meters behind the front line. Difficult to tell what it is. But there are foxholes all over this bit of forest. And I have to watch out so I don't break my legs here. Let me show you one over here. Just behind this tree. This bit. Not that easy to see. Whoop. And there's one next to it as well. Let me just show you. That's where I've been standing. That's a foxhole there. This forest is incredible. Really incredible. There's the massive pit. The entrance to it in the rear. So after climbing up this hill, well, halfway up this hill, there's another trench line. Well, of course there is. And it goes all the way that way, I think around, covering the flank of this hilltop behind me, which still goes up quite a bit. And it continues, oops, here too. This bit of forest is just one big trench, one big open air museum. It's never seen anything like it. It's amazing. It really is. Some parting shots of some more trenches. These ones are facing towards the Maas River and are covering the valley just below. And with this we're going to leave the Reichswald and maybe back another time in another bit of the Reichswald, because there is still so much more to see here.